This is Shirley Pettengill. Today is May 15th, 1983. I'm going to be interviewing Cyril Vance at the Edmund McCurtain home. Edmund McCurtain is the brother of Green McCurtain, and his home was built about 1865.
And there's the old toilet, I guess, is here in Edmund McCurtain's.
Well, I think that maybe they had to move it, huh?
No, it's never been moved.
And is this your front door here?
No, it's
The back door, eh?
yeah, this back place is there too. These are road windows. And we had a big log smokehouse right out there, about 20 by 20, and we're smoking meat in this smokehouse. It's all gone that day. And this had a tub with wood in it, little smoke, and a piece of middling meat or something fell down in this tub, ashes, burned it up.
When was this?
Oh, well, I went to school at Stigler in 1919. It was 1919. And this...
Let's walk around the outside of it first. So where was your front door?
Far end.
The far end.
Big hallway through here. This was a beautiful place about 1912. And
What color was it painted?
white, but I started to paint it brown over. It never did finish.
Did it have green trim too?
No, it didn't. But it had a green shingle roof when I first remember.
Was it stained?
Yeah.
Let's walk down a little. Like the cows have been here.
Yeah. And this yard was a lot bigger.
Further to the, what is that, east?
Huh?
What direction is that?
East.
East. Went out further to the east. I can't turn around. I get so turned around here.
There was a chimney right here.
Right here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, where was your front door? Around this side?
Yeah, I'm going to show you that.
On the north side. Is that north?
That's south. This house had a 8-foot porch out here. Clear across. 6 by 6 posts. You know, they were dressed up. The roof come out here. And shame to see this old house. This is home to me.
When did they take the chimney out?
Oh, sometime in the 1930s, somewhere along
So
there.
it was there when you were a kid.
Yeah, both of them. There's 2 chimneys.
And it had an 8-foot porch?
8-foot porch running out here, clear across.
Looks like it had a walkway here too.
It did. And here's the old step that I've stepped off on many a time. This is all tongue groove floor. And 6 by 6 posts, you know, they were rounded off up here. And this is the old step that we used for steps for many years. And we'll get in there in a minute some way. This is the hallway.
This is the front hall.
This is where you went in. There wasn't no door here. See, this is just so. We could go in here.
Look at the green. Is it green or white? You can tell it's there on the walls.
Well, I believe these walls in here was kind of green. This is the hallway. Nice hallway here. There wasn't no front or nothing there. There's nothing in the back. And we'll go right down to here. Now this was kind of light green or something.
You follow him. He can talk about it. Answer questions. I'll take pictures.
This is what we call the side room there. There's stuff in there, you know, just quilts and blankets and whatever you
For storage?
Yeah, storage.
Cyril?
Yeah.
What kind of activities did you do out here?
Sleep,
You slept out here.
Oh, that is the finest place to sleep here.
Was it open at the other end?
Yeah, it was.
So this was a breezeway.
Yeah, that's what they call a breezeway now. We call it halls them days.
Yeah, but when you were a kid, it was open.
It was open. Clear back to here.
Was this open all the way too, or was this later? See this lowered section?
No, it was higher than that.
So you think that this is a later thing?
Yeah, it is built later. And this was all open here.
It was all open.
And
It wasn't screened in the way it is
no,
now.
it wasn't.
And that's your well.
That's a cistern.
It's a cistern.
And it had a roof over it like this.
A gabled roof?
Went out from the house out.
Uh-huh.
There's the filter that run the water in the cistern. And those rocks were there many years. Didn't have no pump.
Did you have a porch, like a raised,
there across the wood floor
that you just walked out onto that? Was this open, or was there any kind of a porch over this?
That was open there.
It was open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then walk out to that cistern. It was all got a gable roof clear out to the end of that line.
Okay.
And all this wasn't in here.
Okay. Tell me, what did you use that side room for? The room on the
Well,
west?
just store stuff, such as quilts and blankets and books and just different things.
Look at those big wide things with planks on it.
I am looking.
Well, this has been put in here later.
He said this was all tongue and groove.
Here.
This was tongue and groove?
That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Okay. Now some of these are locked, she said, and we might try to get in from a different
I'll go
direction.
up here to open the door.
Okay. Well, she said you could try the different doors, and
Well, you
some
let
of
me
them.
by and I'll go up there.
Okay. Well, there's 2 rooms here.
Yes, there's a
I'm
room.
going to take you all through.
Well, okay.
That's what we call the side room there.
All right. I'm gonna take a picture of this.
Now here's the front door to the house right here. And it's heavy. Come in this old door a minute. Looked like this place might be haunted, had it? That old door is the same old door that was here.
Was this a bedroom?
Bedroom.
Bedroom.
Of course, you know, them days, there wasn't no such thing as living rooms. They just all bedrooms.
This was a bedroom.
Bedroom, and we used it for a living room, too.
Ceiling looks like. Has the ceiling been lowered in this room?
No, it hadn't.
But it's just been covered over
Yeah,
with that.
it is papered.
Uh-huh.
We lived here. And 2 big solid glass windows, you see. Well, there's all.
Look at the moldings in here. Does this look like the original woodwork in here?
It's the same woodwork.
And this is the door.
And
The lock. Is this the kind of locks you were saying were in the Green McCurtain home?
yeah.
This kind of lock.
But that's not the kind of lock that was in this door here, I don't think.
Well, you can see here. This is,
Yeah.
this is later.
And we had green curtains, shades in here, green window shades.
Uh-huh.
And here was a fireplace with we burnt coal here and had grates. And there wasn't all this timber wasn't around here. Had a pretty yard, paling fence. I think this is the same old floor that was here when. Yeah, it is. Look how that threshold is worn.
Same old floor, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I of course
But
had
I
forgotten
didn't tell
that.
you about that fireplace. Grates in that. We burnt coal here and had grates in there.
Uh-huh.
And it had a mantle on it there.
You said you had tongue and groove out there, but this isn't tongue and groove
No,
board in
this is-
here. This
that-
is probably the original flooring.
It is.
And this, look at that mantle there.
Yeah,
That's pine.
Look at that.
I mean, not the mantle. What do you call that?
Threshold.
Threshold. And this was a bedroom. We called it the middle room right here. We called this the middle room. And I remember when World War I was over, the day our missus died, 1918, I was sicker than a mule right here. They had that epidemic flu, you know, and I was right there when our missus died in that bed.
It's interesting in this room, you have different sized boards.
Yeah.
Look at here. What are these, 1 by 8? Or 1 by 10?
1 by 10.
1 by 10, but over here, this is a narrower one
Yeah.
right here. What is that, 1 by 8?
Yeah, 1 by 8.
So you have different sized boards. And you said that in that other home.
This is different size.
Yeah, it was different sizes.
And
Well,
our
were the
telephone.
baseboards similar to this?
Yeah.
In that other
yeah,
home?
there was.
What are these, 1 by 10s?
1 by 10s.
Look at how thick that one is
That's not a
compared
one.
to this one.
That's not a 1 by 10.
And we had our
Isn't
telephone.
it? Yes, it is.
Our telephone.
This is
hung
1 by 12 right here, isn't it?
Yeah. Our telephone hung right here.
Oh my goodness.
And, yeah. And this,
How were the windows? Were there window weights in here?
yeah, there was. You can see the rollers up top.
Yeah. Look at this. Do you suppose this was built later, this closet?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. You used to have wardrobes back then, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Didn't have too many clothes either.
It wasn't a big problem, huh?
I think my grandmother just had a curtain fixed up there. There you go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And right here is what we call the dining room.
This was your dining room, huh?
Yeah.
Do you think it was always a this is where you ate, but you didn't make your meals in here.
Yeah. No, we cooked in there.
You cooked in there.
And this is the dining room. And the same old mantles here that was here then. And this is where we kept our fruit and stuff stored. You know, the can lot of stuff. It had shelves in there. And there's the fireplace. And we had a big table in here about 6 foot long, about 4 foot wide, sit right here.
Mm-hmm.
And there always a lot of people eat them days, you know.
Did your grandmother have this wallpapered in here?
Yeah, it was paper. It was
How did you wallpaper it? Was it on
on cheesecloth.
cheesecloth?
Yeah.
And did you have those little round things? You know, they used to sometimes nail them on with these little round
No,
things.
no, you didn't have
use-
to when you used that cheesecloth. You used dough or
Put it in
flour,
water.
paste.
Uh-huh.
Put your paper right over that
On the cheesecloth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we made a lot of good meals there.
I bet you did. This is just opine here, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's so interesting is that it is all different sizes, everything from 1 by 8 to...
What's that?
It's a bee smoker.
What?
It's a bee smoker, isn't it?
I guess it is. They're kind of bee hunters around here.
What did you say that was kept in this closet?
Fruit and canned goods,
It
you
was
know.
a pantry.
Yeah, we had a big orchard out here with grapes.
Okay, and then this is your kitchen here.
This is the kitchen here. We had a big
Woo, it's big.
range cook stove set right here with a copper boiler on it. That's the reason I was picturing this, just like the old McCurtain. I mean, there'd be
Uh-huh.
more big light, you see.
Uh-huh.
And the ceiling was about the same height. They did have that over it as lumber.
What is the height of the ceiling, do you think?
Well, it's about 11 foot, I imagine.
About 11 foot? You know, I'll have to run out to the car and get that tape measure and measure this.
Well, there's one in the picture, 2 or 3.
Yeah, you've got the, I wanted to get some pictures.
And, you see, they had way back years ago, they had to freight this stuff from Fort Smith.
Uh-huh.
And people didn't go to town very often. And I remember in the wood ceiling, there was holes bored up there where they could have a board up there, lay their flour and stuff up there. There's holes out of that ceiling there to take care of it through the year, you know. They maybe didn't go to town over once.
There were holes in the ceilings for
Yeah.
what? What
Had
do you-
ropes were through them holes and tie a board up there where they could lay their flour and stuff up there.
What would be the advantage of having your flour up there?
Well, keep the mice and everything else away from it. And we always had a cabinet set right here.
Uh-huh.
tell me, obviously you had a chimney here at one time.
Well, the chimney's there. And you see the
On the other-
fireplace on the other
yeah.
side? The fireplace on the other side.
Well, why isn't there wood over this?
Well, I don't know, but the cook stove set right here.
You suppose there used to be an old chimney here?
There's a chimney here
No,
now.
but I mean an opening from
There's
this
a
side.
hearth here.
No.
What?
There's a hearth
There's
here.
a hearth, yeah, see?
Yeah, there's a hearth here.
So you would have had a chimney that opened down this
It
side,
could
and
have
maybe
been.
they took this out to put in the range.
It could have been, but that's the only way they had to cook them days.
Yeah, look it down here.
Yeah, wood.
Yeah. Oh,
Here's where it ends.
yeah. Feel it right out here.
Yeah.
Cyril, feel it right out here. You can see where the hearth ends.
Yeah.
Right out here.
Well, you see one of them stoves stood way out here.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
that's where we had a pipe.
Yeah, well, you just fed right into the chimney.
And this was the kitchen door that went out on the porch.
Okay.
All this mess wasn't here then. And there's just a big porch out here, about 8 foot.
Oh, I'm lost. Here we are. Okay. This is obviously, was this a porch when you were a kid?
Yeah.
See, this has been added on to the outside of the house.
Well, that was the outside.
Yeah.
And all this is just put up here, this stove. I call it a mess.
Uh-huh. You call it a what?
Mess,
A
a built.
mess.
A built here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the old house still seems solid.
This house is older than that house over there.
But it seems pretty solid.
These were the kind of
Yeah.
handles you remember on the
Yeah.
other doors,
Yeah.
the coarse ones.
Uh-huh.
Look at now, this is a 4-panel door, and this is 3 panels plus a glass door.
Well, that door wasn't here.
It wasn't? What was?
There was another door here, but that's the same door.
Oh, no, this is the add-on bathroom.
So this porch went on out there.
Oh, I see. So this bathroom wasn't here.
Who lived here last?
All the porch. She said somebody had lived here up to 3 years ago. Somebody, for a while they were waiting
This
for another
old
house.
lady Warren, I think. Old lady, the old
For a
lady.
couple of years, for a couple of months, I guess, while she was
Oh, she
waiting.
lived there pretty good while.
Oh, well, there might be another person.
She's dead now.
Closet unless. I'm gonna run out and get that.
Oh, right here.
Okay.
And grind coffee before we eat breakfast, you know.
Uh-huh.
My coffee is all green. And you had a cook table right here.
You suppose that this was the outside of the house originally?
No.
No?
Mm.
It doesn't look like it would. I bet it was another bedroom. Do you think, did you ever hear them talking about having a kitchen separate from the house in the early years, before you came along?
Separate from the house.
Well, that this wasn't the kitchen,
No.
that it was another bedroom,
No,
and then
it
they,
is.
because oftentimes people used to have their kitchen separate.
This was.
This is always the kitchen when
This
you
is
were a
the
kid.
original kitchen for 70 years or
Okay,
better.
now see, this has ton and groove boards in it.
Yeah, but them was put down since I can remember.
Okay,
I
they're
think
later.
that one was 60.
Okay.
We put them down though.
Well, I was just wondering why these didn't go all the way to the floor. They don't there, and they don't over on this side.
Why do you suppose not?
The mantle brace, I don't know. Side of the...
They might have them burnt off.
No?
Well, look at this. This is different from that side over there, though. See?
No. Not different. No, not different.
How do you get a picture of that? Yeah.
The back of the fireplace is broken through. The back of the fireplace is broken through.
Yeah,
Yeah. Huh.
This could be made a good house. Look,
You know, I was just thinking the same thing.
that's good lumber in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of class to it.
Doesn't it, though?
Sure does. Well, that amazes me about the board having all the different sizes. It's just like they had what they had, and you put up what you put up.
They just use what they had.
What?
Is that unlevel, the top of that door?
Well, it probably is now. The house is set.
Yeah.
This house, you know, this old house, I don't two-story. To tell you.
I'm going to get a picture of that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I remember in 1913 they had
She's
a
got the fresh
big
picture.
dance here. And they had a midnight supper in 1913. People come from everywhere here to the dance. Danced all night. They had
New Year's?
No, it was in November 1913.
All night dance, huh?
All night dance. Midnight supper. People come from everywhere.
Was there a parlor here?
Didn't know what a parlor was, everybody. No, there wasn't, Shirley.
So I was looking at the difference, and this apparently is the original
It is.
molding, because you see, some of those have been done different. And this has one little board up here to decorate it,
Yeah.
where those don't. You know, it's just like there's
Well, I
a...
think this is pretty well. Of course, the house one's been repaired. But I think this is pretty well the same stuff. But I remember one time there was a carpenter here and done a lot of work. Way back years ago. We didn't know how electric lights was.
I never have seen what the ceilings look like in here. What were the ceilings? Were they beaded?
No, they were just about,
Just board.
I believe they were tongue and grooves and about 8 inches wide. I'm not
See?
sure, 8 or 10. I think we'd get some kind of idea about that on the porch.
Okay.
I think it's in, I'm not sure.
I see. Was this the kind of ceiling that was in...
Something like that.
Was this the kind of ceiling that was in Green McCurtain's house?
No, it is
His
there.
was narrower?
Yeah,
Like what was on the porch?
yeah.
That kind of porch? I mean, that's not what there's
And
now.
this porch out here was also sealed.
That narrow?
No, it is
It
sealed.
was this kind.
Yeah. This is the same old picture, didn't you?
Isn't that interesting? This must have been your early style tongue and groove ceiling.
Boy, this is a real place, you know, the breeze will blow through here.
And you slept out here a lot, huh? Of course, you're on a north-south.
South.
North-south, and you get a breeze here.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get into those other rooms.
Was there a space up there for storage at one time?
No, it was never used. Well, I guess we'll get into it here. I've gone down this hall many a night, my boots and spurs on. Midnight, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, been to a big dance somewhere and hit that cold rub in there, never think nothing about it.
Is that cold what?
Cold rub. Under the chair.
Camera here. But you said that the flooring in here was tongue and groove when you remember it.
Yeah, it was.
That's what you're fixing up.
Well, this was the side room. It just kept clothes and quilts, blankets, and whatever you had.
Smells like porch. No. Oh, what does this look like outside? This is, it's an old edition. Oh, for sure, this is the original room.
And this
Don't
was
you think it's just a porch?
I'll check it here. This is what we call the traveler room.
The traveler room?
Yeah?
Was this where the guests stayed when it was an inn?
Yeah. And Edmund McCurdy's picture used to hang right over that door there. It's a historical building in Oklahoma City.
Over which door?
That door there.
Right up over the
Yeah,
door?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that a wider door?
Yeah, I believe it is. Looks like it might be a 3-foot door.
There we go. Now we can see a little
That's the same old door.
what was on here.
Yeah.
It's just like it's been around a few years, doesn't it?
That's
Here we go. Let's take a look. Is that beaded? That's beaded. See?
Yeah.
Look at that ceiling.
Yeah, that's kind of dead old, I see.
Yeah? Okay. Interesting.
Well, it's just tongue and groove and kind of what you call, I guess, beaded on each side. It's sort of got a groove down through the center.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, what?
This is the travel room, and the fireplace is right over there. Chimney.
It's gone now.
Yeah?
When did they take that one
Hearth would
out?
I
still
don't
be
know.
there.
Back in 1930s.
Back in the 30s.
The hearth's got to be still there. Probably can't see it.
Until we could get to it. So you had 1, 2, 3 fireplaces in this house originally. One on each end of this house, and
Yeah.
then one
Kitchen.
between the kitchen and the dining room.
There was signs of a fireplace back in that room at one time, but I don't know whether you could see it now or not. There might have been a fireplace there, and I don't know whether it was or not.
And that little, what you call the side room.
Yeah. But I've come in this room and went to sleep a minute.
This was a bedroom.
Yeah. Well, it's always been a bedroom.
Look at the molding up there. That's their molding. Right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a picture of that. That's probably similar to what you got. It's just like a little strip, a little rounded strip.
I kind of believe that molded we put up there, they'll see it. I think they did quarter round.
Quarter round.
It is papered.
It was.
Yeah.
Been torn off long since, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We have to go back in that other room and look at the hearth.
And there's usually a bed in this room, too.
There was what?
A bed.
Uh-huh.
Didn't you say you slept in here?
That room in there is where I slept over there.
But there was never any way to get in that room except from here.
No, you
Okay.
can come right that hall in that big porch right there, see? Porch went clear across.
So you entered this room from the outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a big, nice porch out there. I remember in 1923, we were sitting out on that porch. It was about 8 o'clock at night. It was in spring year, May, I think. And we had a telephone here. And all at once, it's dark, see, and all at once, the whole country, just as light as it is right now. And we wondered what it was. But it was a meter going over, and it just lit up things just about like it is now. And all that telephone got to ringing in there. That's a meter, and part of it fell up near Oak Mulvey in a cow lot up there, and part of it fell down here at Poto, close to Poto. And boy, that year they had big rush hour meetings. And there was more people baptized that year than I ever heard of. It baptized 57 Sunday. They thought the world was coming to an end.
But you said this whole area out here in the hall was all open,
Yeah.
all the way to the ceiling.
It was.
This ceiling was.
Yeah. Yeah. It went straight back, sealed the porch. And this was about 1912 when I was a kid. This was a beautiful place.
The porch turned here.
Yeah.
This was a beautiful place.
This flooring, the old flooring right here. I want to get a picture. I want to take a look in there at
And tell me, and I guess it's
square
fact.
nails in here. See
Yeah.
the square nails in there?
Yeah, you can notice square nails all in this. They tell me Edmund McCurtain lived over there in the log house before this house was built. There's an old open well where you see that old barrel out there. It had a roof on it, a board roof, 4-way roof. And lived over there before this house was built. And of course the old stagecoach road run right up through there.
Yeah.
And they built this house. But I remember the old well, it had a board roof on it. It had it sloped 4 ways. And you can tell, and there has been one time, not in my time, a schoolhouse over there where they went to school. You could I farmed that land. You could break up and fly up all kinds of glass and stuff.
Did you ever find anything worth having?
Never did look for anything.
Come on, light up. I want to, here we go. I want to, take a look at that, where the fireplace was in here. See what the bottom of the hearth looked like.
This was a big yard. It came out to about here. And had a paling fence around it. Then had a hitching rack right up there. There wasn't no trees in here, only one big blackjack tree out there and then one kind of back behind the house.
Did your grandmother have lots of flowers?
Not much flowers, no. I had a garden, one of the best gardens right out there ever was. Had a hitching rack where a tie horses up out here. And after I got up 18, 20 years old, I kept a bull out here in the pasture. In this pasture here, and that was my Sunday's game, riding that bull. They couldn't nobody else ride it in the country. And I rode that bull every Sunday, didn't have nothing else to do. And we'd fight. And we'd tie him up. I'd get on him out here, had a thing built out here where I'd tie him up. I'd get on him, he'd buck clear across this pasture.
Everything faced Sandboy Road, didn't it?
Faced the old road that went.
Green's house is where? Right over in there?
You can see it right there.
Okay, yeah.
You used to there wasn't no timber there. You used to see that house plain. I was just telling her I kept me a bull out here, and every Sunday I'd ride that bull. That's all I had to do.
I asked about the flowers in the yard.
Wasn't many flowers. The yard came out to here,
Uh-huh.
and it's about that wide over there. And
Where was the road? How far out was the road?
no,
Great walk here.
outside of it. There used to be a hole right in there. They filled it up,
Mm-hmm.
but
That was it.
No,
Oh, big one, wasn't it?
there's no black stuff.
it's not.
Was it black or rattler? Cottonmouth?
The road was
What is it?
right out there.
Biggie, wasn't he?
Surely you see that tree yonder.
Yeah?
That used to be woods up through there. But
Uh-huh.
there was an old road going up through there. And there was an old open well over there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a house set right down there where that old post goes through there. And the cars were playing parsonage for the preachers in the church after that.
What was this? Well, this road.
That wasn't it.
Was it black or rattler? Cottonmouth?
The road was
What is it?
right out there.
Biggie, wasn't he?
Surely you see that tree yonder.
Yeah?
That used to be woods up through there. But
Uh-huh.
there was an old road going up through there. And there was an old open well over there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a house set right down there where that old post goes through there. And the cars were playing parsonage for the preachers in the church after that.
What was this? Well, this road.
That wasn't it.
Never said.
Yes, been built later.
It's interesting. The house has both square nails and round nails, and it's like they went back afterwards with round nails and tried to tack it down
There's
again.
been carpenters work here on this house.
This is sure a neat little walk there.
Sure is. About 5 foot wide.
See, it's faced on each side by stones that are put into the ground.
Now we walk around on the west side.
It's a wide walk.
Yeah, it is. And that's the step we used. That's probably been here 125 years. We had a garden out here.
Look at this, Meredith.
What are you talking about?
The fact that you've got shingles all the way across here. There wouldn't have been shingles right across there.
No.
If you'd had a chimney.
Where the chimney had gone in.
Yeah.
Right on.
These are all round there. Well, there, that's a square nail right there.
Must have been nailed, re-nailed. I know they put it,
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I certainly see what you're saying.
It wouldn't be there. You know, they would have had to replace. Well, they have. You
Yeah.
can see they have replaced shingles in there when they took this out.
Had to.
Get a picture. I never got a picture of this side.
Now you had what here?
There's a big blackjack tree, and I had me a swing out here when I was a kid. I'd swing on a limb, a rope, you know.
I see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sure do. Mm-hmm. I see it. Where did this stone come from, this dressed work
I
here?
don't know, but when you look at this pretty tree, and
That's what I'm looking for at, and I don't.
It's like a rock mason to do that.
You don't know where it came
Look
from.
at them lilies cut on.
same guy that did the curtain home.
I imagine so.
Look at the top of this cistern, Shirley.
That's a filter.
Or the filter. Look, Pennsylvania Dutch black, almost.
Another old McCurtain house
You.
had one just like it. Might have been bigger.
But it's gone now.
Yes.
Wonder if we can get this one.
And you know what? Yeah. That's a good idea. Very good.
Just wondering who in this part of the country did that kind of thing.
I gotta get some more film. I'm out of film.
Yeah.
Back to the car and see if I got some of that.
That was good water in that system.
When you were, how long did you live here? When did you leave here?
I was about 22 years old.
It could have been here.
22, 23.
It could have been what year?
Well, it was about 1929, 1930.
You said there was an orchard here?
Yeah, it was just a little bit.
To the west.
And great thing.
This direction west. There's an old back gate. Or that's part, is this part of your, Cyril, is this part of your paling fence?
Well, let's look at it.
It is, huh?
And that's it's in the back. Now, did you say that was part of the paling fence?
Yeah.
Well, what do you know about that?
Go out there and look at that old house. You call it that?
You mean the outhouse?
Yeah.
You're not going, huh?
No.
Looks like they're full of peaches. Yeah, they're full of peaches.
But and it wouldn't bear. And somebody told me, and I drove it full of old rusty nails, and it just, at the men on it just had loaded with pears. Remember, you know what kind of.
And what kind of swing was it?
Set up like this. Come back.
Rocking swing. It was in a frame.
The smokehouse was like.
All right.
Here's a long one. That's what it is, and that's why it won't record. Except it won't push down at all. Well, I'm going to have to bring I'm going to have a longer screwdriver. We can't afford the repair bills. Well, I'm going to have to get into this. I'm going to have a better screwdriver than that. Huh?
Any dirty dishes in there?
Oh, just got a couple of spoons, that's all.
Give them here. Oh,
I'm not even mention it to him. I'm just going to do it. I was gonna bring it to you. This is one we got. And we only have one of them.
Well,
Mama, isn't
I'd mention that in a minute of Coleman.
it? Mars Coleman?
Master Coleman. And see, after I say the minute of Coleman.
Mars Coleman's
We're told to have
I
more
was
equipment
not
than we got.
Is he a president?
I don't know nothing about birthing recorders.
Well, I was looking for one on this. I've got a jammed recorder button here. I'm gonna have to take it apart.
Isn't that your new one?
Oh, no. This,
No, I'm talking about your high-speed recorder.
no, that's this.
Now, what is
This is-
jammed?
This Sony, right here. It's jammed.
Is it plugged in?
Oh, yes. See, this will go down, but this will.
Well, now, we got your jack.
Mm-hmm. That's supposed to go all the way down.
Nobody
See,
ever
that's
told.
Let's just play it. See, it doesn't even go down when it's.
Well, I'd say it's jammed.
Yeah, it is. So I was looking for it. I'm going to have to take it apart whether Joe wants me to or not because we cannot afford the repair bill. And we use that machine all the time, so I've got to find out what it is that's jamming the key. Joe just panics and turns purple every time I say I'm going to take one of these apart. He doesn't trust me. So I'm going to do it. But I can't, well, it's going to be a week before I can do it because we have to use this one to play the tapes
Is
on
that
for
red
the
light
kids.
supposed to be flashing on that one?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm cleaning tapes is what I'm doing. Because we've got 25 tapes here we could use if I can just get them cleaned.
This is Shirley Pettengill, and today is March 19th, 1983, and I am speaking with Cyril Vance at the Green McCurtain site. Start in.
All right, I'm going to start here at the gates.
Okay.
These gates were rock with horseshoes cut in them, lilies, and the iron gate fastened. And around it had a white paling fence.
Like a picket fence?
Well, you know what a paling fence is. 4-inch boards nailed up and down, sharp at the point up here. This yard was covered with black locust trees all around the house. And this paling fence went all the way around. And then here, this window, where those 4 windows are, this is a 2 glass windows, see? Where those windows are right there.
Yeah.
They were just solid 2 glass.
2 glass, not 4 lights, but 2.
No, 2. Every one of them.
Okay.
And upstairs, there was a door like this, an old-fashioned door, had wood panels in the bottom.
4 wood panels.
No, and up here at the top it had glass.
Oh, I see.
Rounded glass.
At the top. At the top 2 panels.
Yeah.
And the bottom were just 2 panels of wood.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's in his office door.
That's right.
Okay.
That's the doorknob.
Okay.
And
what else? What things do you see on the outside that might be wrong?
well, let me find it.
Okay.
On this top up here, they had
You mean the chimney?
No, the top, underneath the rafters, the top.
Okay.
They had a 1x12 or 2x10, and it kind of sloped up, about a 4-inch slope, rounding slope.
Uh-huh.
And it went from one post to the other,
I see.
all the way around, and on the side here too.
On the whole upstairs area?
Yeah.
Okay.
See it? Each one went from one post to the other. See, the rounding.
Okay. Okay, so it was kind of a decorative element
Yeah,
that they had. I want you to give that to me when you're through, and I'll take
I'll
that.
just sit out there and pick up cotton dress.
Okay.
And then in here.
Now we're on the porch.
This is not high enough.
It's not high enough. The porch,
The whole house.
the whole house should be higher.
And this step here is uncomfortable for
Anybody to walk up?
an old person, which will be mostly old people looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncomfortable. You just try that, stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out about at the corner here. The steps did.
I mean, it came out further.
Yeah. And it had a 6x6 wood post right here.
Okay.
Come up about that high.
Which is about what? 3.5 feet? 4 feet?
Yeah, about 4 feet.
Right.
And it had a round ball on top of it.
Okay, we know where that is.
And also another one up there.
There at the top. Okay.
And then it had hand railings coming down from up there down
Right.
here at this post. And
Did it have spindles on the steps as you went up? You know, spindles, little decorative spindles going up the stairs? It did. Okay.
and that, instead of 2x stuff, that is 3 runners up there.
What do you mean 3 runners?
Well, these are 1-inch, full-inch runners up here. And see if it,
You mean these were closed?
yeah, they were closed.
You couldn't see through?
No, and this was full of 1-inch stuff.
Well, 1 inch, what are these?
2 bys.
These are 2s, and you're saying they were only 1 inch thick.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they're full
A
thickness.
full 1 inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were 3 of them.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one in the center too.
Yeah.
I see.
And
So just instead of 1 on each side, there were 3.
Yeah,
That would have
so-
given it stability.
yeah,
You probably would have needed 3.
yeah. And it's hand railing with little things running down.
Okay, the little bolsters, decorative bolsters.
Yeah.
Were they turned with decorations on them?
No, they
Rings?
didn't. They didn't. Yeah, they had rings.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And see, that's uncomfortable to walk on. An
okay.
old person like
Is it too close together?
No. Here's the thing about it.
Is it too high?
No. They ought to have been out this far.
I see, and so instead of being, how wide is this?
That's a 2x8.
Okay, instead of the steps being 8 inches wide, they would have been maybe 10 inches
10
wide?
inches wide, and this was closed in.
Okay, all right.
And it run out to about the corner there.
Oh, out to the corner?
Yeah.
All right.
And then upstairs, well, we'll go down.
Okay. You want to go
Yeah,
upstairs?
we can.
Okay.
See, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's too steep.
Hold that. Must do the blueprint shows that, though.
That there are banisters across
Yeah,
here
yeah.
so that you couldn't fall off.
And you had banisters along here,
Okay,
and the round posts here.
okay. So
One there.
okay. The newels. There was a newel at the head of the stairs and at the back
Yeah.
here. Okay. And you would have had something around here too, wouldn't
They
you?
had banisters, your blueprint shows that.
On the outside
Yeah.
to keep you from falling off the front
Yeah.
porch.
They came up about 2 foot high.
Okay.
And right here is where I talk about that 2x10 you see. It should have been up on the rafters,
Oh, I see.
but it kind of had curved.
It was a decorative
Yeah.
thing. It was a
And
two.
well as I can remember, it had a green finish around,
Green.
yeah,
It was painted green.
yeah, around the top.
Okay.
And of course, it's white. Well, the rest of it white.
Did it look like it had been painted
Yeah.
very many times?
Well, I don't know. Imagine it had. But that paint is all crackled up when I
Yeah.
can remember.
Okay. When did you live here?
Oh, I'd say about 1935 to about 46 or 7.
Mhm. Okay. After you left, did anybody live in the house?
Yeah, they did. A fellow named Hartgrave lived here.
What was the name?
Hartgrave,
Hardgrave.
yeah.
And did anybody live in here after them?
I don't think so. They
Okay,
emptied it.
after that. Well, when was the school held in here? Was that before you or after you?
That was in 1938.
38.
I was building that rock building up there where
Okay. Is
Bill
that the
Burgess
school?
lived. For a school, I was building it. And
Okay.
there wasn't a few kids. And I lived here, and I let them have school in these 2 rooms.
Okay, that would be the office and the parlor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And what direction, when you say that, what direction is that?
that's west.
West. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
In here,
Okay.
they got this steel hide. There were mantles,
Wooden mantles?
wooden mantles in each
Okay,
room.
and they've been removed.
Yeah,
We're in the
west end,
west end.
upstairs.
Okay.
And that hearth is going to be high, looks like. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to build higher on the floor. looks
Yeah, right. But it wasn't.
like. It's even.
It was down low. Someone told me about that. Maybe it was,
It is even with the floor.
okay.
And I remember one time we lived here. Me and my wife went to town to get a new mattress. We bought us a new mattress, and
Mhm.
at that time they come with a lot of paper around it.
Mhm.
And we thought we living downstairs. That is, we use downstairs mostly. And so I just throwed that paper in the fireplace.
Uh-huh.
And it set that soda fire and it sounded like a B-29. And it burned for 2 or 3 hours. I was scared to death.
Oh my God.
See that soda?
So it was up in the chimney?
Up in the chimney. That soda probably been there 75 years. And
Okay.
and
You thought the house was going to go.
oh, it roared. Just,
Tell me, what kind of wood was in the mantles?
well,
Were they oak or pine?
I would say it was pine.
Okay. Like yellow pine? Arkansas?
Yeah.
Was it fancy? Did it have decorations on it?
Little, not much.
Not much.
No.
You remember, was it scroll work or
No.
was it just,
plain mantle?
did it have kind of like ledges or something on it?
Just had one ledge here.
Okay. Did it go up onto the top of
Yeah.
here? It went onto the top.
See, they should have come up to here with that floor.
Yeah, well,
Too late now.
That's right. You're a you as well as anybody.
All 4 fireplaces had mantles on them.
Okay, all 4. And they were all pine, as far as you
Yeah, as
remember?
far as I know.
Okay,
I never did think this would ever come up, you see, and I didn't examine them or anything.
right. Okay. Whatever happened to them, do you know?
I don't
Somebody
know.
walked off with them.
I was working Oklahoma City or Tulsa somewhere when they tore this down.
Okay.
This whole thing was 2x4 studs.
2x4 studs
Mm-hmm.
instead of, what is this?
2x6.
2x6. Okay.
You see, it's gonna make your door jam
Wrong.
wider, a lot wider.
Uh-huh.
And this ceiling in all these rooms was tongue and groove, what I call beaded ceiling,
Right.
about 3.5 inches wide and about a 1/2 inch thick.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I know what the beaded. Did you have it downstairs and upstairs?
all the rooms.
In the office
In
and
the
the parlor?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it painted or was it, do you think it was wallpapered at the time?
Well, it had been painted,
Uh-huh.
and I painted again on all of
Uh-huh.
it.
Do you remember what color it might have been?
Seemed me like it's kind of a dark red, or kind of a reddish, not too, I'm not very good at colors anyway.
Okay.
But seemed me like it is, I painted green. When
Okay. But it was red from what you remember.
Yeah,
How about the walls? What was on the walls?
Box, about 1x8 box,
1x8 box?
boxing boards.
What's that? Is that kind of beveled on the sides?
Well, as far as I know, it could have been 1x8, 1x12,
Okay.
or anything, but it's papered over.
Okay. Were all of these rooms, can you remember, as to the best of your knowledge, look like they had been wallpapered at one point?
Yeah.
You had the, it was just wood, and then they had probably used muslin, and then they torn it all
Yeah,
off later
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and most certainly they just nailed it.
Nailed it up.
Wallpaper on them days, but
Okay.
they did have, as you say, muslin on it, and
Yeah.
they used that to stick the
Yeah.
paper to.
Right, and then they nailed the whole thing up.
I would like to see that rounding deal put in there.
That what?
That rounding deal that
You-
I showed you.
The,
Yeah.
but as far as you know, all of the rooms had wood on them, and they all appeared to have been wallpapered at one
Yeah.
point. Okay,
1x12, it could have been 1x8s, 1x12s, or
okay.
I never went that
Okay.
far to.
You don't remember an interior stair in here?
No
There
stair.
wasn't? Okay. All right. Well, you see, Mrs. Vonderow had shown an interior stairway. She may have not remembered it.
She wasn't ever raised with
Yeah,
me.
that's right. Well, see, she was doing it from memory.
No, there wasn't no stairs.
Okay.
They might have been at the old house in Kennet,
Well, it was a one-story house.
1-story house.
Yeah,
Well, that's
so-
it at Kennet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's,
How about anything in here? Now, you said in his office in here, that this was a door, this on the east side, this was a door.
south side.
This is the south side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember, I made a boat in here one time, and I remember they used to have to guard this place.
Right.
And there's a hole right up there.
A hole up in
They
the...
had cut a hole where they could shoot out that hole.
Where, it was out the roof?
No,
Where did they shoot? Out the south side?
south side here, somewhere right in here.
Oh, I see. We'll have to recreate that.
I know that that's what it's for.
Yeah?
And
Well, I imagine they say he had guards.
yeah.
Pretty rough times, eh?
Well, they had a lot of disputes over
Yeah.
the Indian Territory and
What kind of flooring did we have in here?
tongue groove.
Tongue and groove.
Yeah,
Okay, how wide?
one before.
1x4s. Okay. Would that have been, you're an old carpenter, would they have had that kind of flooring back in the 1870s and 1880s? Or
Well,
would
I guess they did.
Or maybe would that have been later?
Well, it's just a single floor and it's bound to have been.
Okay, it was a single floor, so
Yeah.
it was bound to be there.
Yeah, and there
Okay.
had been a telephone here at one time, and I understand it's made out of barbed wire.
A what?
A telephone?
How can you have a telephone out of barbed wire?
Well, you could have a telephone out of any kind of wire, I guess. But I understand is
Where was it? Do you remember where it used to be on the wall in here?
I don't know where it's at, but there was an old telephone bracket nailed on that front deal there.
No kidding. So that'd be on that, this is the
Yeah.
south wall.
Yeah, and I could guess it could have been in here.
Uh-huh. Oh, you say that was the bracket on the outside?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it would have been in his office, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is, oh, this was for that chimney, which they decided, you put these chimneys
Yeah, I
in.
did.
Okay, well, we told them not to put them back in. You put these chimneys in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Okay. What other changes did you make that they might have picked up by mistake?
Nothing on this flue and that one downstairs.
Okay. Did, any idea what kind of heat they would have used in here? Since they didn't have any kind of a fireplace, did they?
I don't know what kind of heat they could have used.
It must be maybe a freestanding kerosene.
Well, I don't know if there was any such thing as that 10 days.
Well, yeah, they go back that
Really?
far. There's, you know what I mean, the kerosene heaters. They might have used
They
that,
sure
but there
wasn't.
there wasn't any
Mm-mm.
fireplace.
There sure wasn't any electricity there.
There wasn't. Even when you moved here, there
No,
was.
we used coal oil lamps.
Okay. Okay. Around the top. Okay.
Fancy little posts about 4 inches apart.
Okay. Well, we know where one is.
I don't know how you're gonna get that post ever rounded around like that.
They can be reproduced.
Now this, there's the mounds. See, I told you.
Okay.
See the floor below.
But it would have been, the floor would have been even with this. Although you said, someone told me that the floor was actually above.
No.
No, it was even. Okay.
And this is supposed to be a sliding window right here.
A sliding window?
Yeah.
Let's see, we're in what they're calling the
This
kitchen
is
area.
supposed to be the kitchen right here.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be a sliding window.
How did it slide?
Well-
Into the wall this way?
It just laid down. It's just commonly built. It's just like that window there, only it laid down, you see. And them studs that had been,
It couldn't do it with these studs in the way, right?
I was there for Benny night.
Just a minute, I can't hear you.
Slept for Benny night right here.
In this room right here.
Right here. And there was a door over there.
Okay, a door where? Where that window is?
Now,
Oh, over here. Let's see, this is,
right here,
okay, this is the north wall here.
north wall.
And then in the western corner.
Yeah.
Well, not in the corner, about, what, 3 feet out from
That's
From the
where
wall.
you see it.
Okay.
And these doors here were homemade doors. They made
Okay.
this one and that one down there. Those back there were.
Okay. Were those doors that wide?
Well, no, they wasn't.
Okay, we're in what they call the dining room, and
Yeah.
we're looking to the north. No, what way is this?
That's north.
Okay, we're looking north. How wide would the doors have
There's
been?
about a 2'8" door here.
2.8 door, and how wide is it now?
They're made for a 3-foot door.
Yeah, okay. How about the kitchen area? Did that have, how wide would that have been? The same
Same
as
as
this
this,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
And them,
What about this foundation that's out here?
that's before my time.
Okay, this is where the archaeologists found it, was out here, was the foundation.
I've understood that there was some addition went back there, but it must
Okay.
have went back,
Before you came along.
yeah, way I imagine about 1900 or somewhere.
Okay, what I'm wondering, we're going to try and do a little archaeology eventually and try to figure out what that
And there
is.
was an ash hopper right there.
An ash hopper?
Yeah,
What does that do?
Betty tell you.
What's an ash hopper do?
All right, a long time ago, it was built out of rock.
Uh-huh.
A long time ago, that's the only way people had of getting hold of lye. They'd take their ashes out there some way and pour it in there, usually hickory ashes,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd take them ashes and soak them some way and get hold of lye to make soap with.
Right. Okay, and that was still out there when you were
Yeah,
here? What happened to it?
I don't know.
It's obviously got torn down. That
It was
is,
built out of rock.
we could probably find the foundations to it
And the
maybe,
yard went out about them trees.
right out here.
Yeah.
Okay, that was part of, I wonder what these trees are out here.
Well, they're what do you call them, Betty? Got balls on them. What do you call them?
Oh, Bodark?
Bodark.
Bodark, okay. Who planted those? Are those,
They just come wild.
they're, okay, what about that big one out there?
They ain't come up wild. There used to
Okay.
be a big orchard all down in here,
All right,
peach orchard, and out there where them cattle and on down through here was grape vineyard.
grape vineyards.
Yeah, lots
Okay.
of grapes.
Somebody made wine, I'll bet.
Well, no, don't reckon. Might have. I don't
Now,
know.
that was before Prohibition, remember?
Yeah.
Tell me, was the Storm Cellar, that was here when you were here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it is here when, I guess when the house was built.
okay.
I used that thing all the time.
Okay, and this was down here, was the smokehouse?
Yeah, let's walk out here.
These are 3-foot doors, too.
Yeah.
These shouldn't be. Was this a homemade door?
Yeah, 2'8".
But the door itself was a homemade door.
Homemade door.
Somebody
both,
had made it.
Both of them. This
Okay,
one,
so you had 2 doors in that room there.
Yeah,
All right.
and them were homemade doors back there too.
In the back here. But these here at the front of the house by the breezeway, these were,
They were an old-fashioned door. I don't know. They had panels, wood panels down there at the bottom, and then up here at the top, just like a glass door I showed you.
only they were all 4 panels. Or were they?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll look out there.
Well, let's start on this gutter. There was a gutter run down this roof and come right down, had a spout in it, come right down here. And right here there was a filter. There's a rock deal, pretty
You mean it like for the cistern, for the charcoal?
for the charcoal and
Okay.
beat up rock.
Yeah,
And this filter, the water run down this
okay.
downspout into this, and there's pretty lily flowers cut all over that filter there. The top of it,
Flowers?
cut in that rock.
Oh, I see. What do you suppose
And they
happened?
was some real rock beds here.
Well, now, where was the cistern at itself?
The cistern, see it, the water ran from there over to here.
Oh, I see, right by the smokehouse.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the cistern.
all right.
And then this cistern had a shed over it.
Over there.
No, run that straight out from this building, right out.
You mean there was a shed over this cistern?
Yeah.
Okay. How big?
Well, it probably it'd run from corner, I'd say out about here,
Which is what, maybe
12 foot.
12 foot? Straight out. Was it open?
Huh?
Was it open? It had
Yeah.
a roof over it?
Had the roof over.
But just posts on the ends, and
Yeah.
it was all open,
Yeah.
though. Okay.
And that's where they caught the water. They
Okay.
tell me they go down at the creek in the wintertime, and they used to get a lot colder here than it does now, and chop ice and put in this cistern, and they'd have ice all winter, all summer.
In the cistern or in the...
In the cistern.
In the cistern. They put
Yeah.
ice in there.
Yeah.
But what about the water that ran in
Well,
during the summer?
they just get cold with the rest of it.
Oh, okay. I see.
They'd fill that cistern, they'd go down there and chop ice in the creek.
Okay. Well, now tell me, the line that ran from the filtering system over here, was that underground?
Yeah.
It was underground.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably
It's probably still there. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Now, somebody told me that there was an ice house over on the other side. Do you remember that?
no ice house.
Not that you don't remember that.
There ain't nobody living in it.
What?
There ain't nobody living that knows any more about this place than I do.
Well, I think one of the granddaughters had said that her grandfather, oh, I don't know where I read this. I may be mistaking it for something, but there is a little building shown on a plans that she had drawn, and which she called her ice house. Nothing in this house was plastered, huh? It was just the boards.
Just the board, no plaster.
I wonder why this one was plastered, if it was a later construction. This was a smokehouse.
Yeah.
Do you, what did you use it for? Nothing.
Pile of junk in.
Okay. Well, now, hey, that almost looks like a homemade door right there.
I don't know. Over here, and I think you'll find them yet, there's
Well, here's...
rocks stood up there where they'd put their meat down and salt it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
These must be the banisters.
No, that's post.
No, that's the outside posts.
That's the post.
Those are the half ones. Those would have gone against the wall.
Now, do they have all the wood, the carving wood that went over the fireplaces? Is it in here too?
I don't know, Betty. It's the first time I looked in here.
Well, we will.
See, I turned them. Well, let's see. It's the other one. Right here.
Okay. That's the full-inch one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't hardly buy lumber like it now.
No, you have to have it made spatially. Okay, there is a door right there with
Yeah,
four
there's
panels.
4
in.
panels in it.
Okay. Well, what we're going to have to do is get in here and have somebody root to the bottom of this pile and see what it is that they've got, because they probably say various pieces of lumber.
They no telling what is in there. That was imagine
That could have been.
a bracket on the post.
A bracket on the post. I bet you will find those curved things that you were talking about in here too.
No, I don't believe you will.
You don't think so, huh?
I heard
Ours, didn't it?
No,
Where'd that go?
you know them posts outside
Yeah?
that
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Right.
on this side.
Okay.
Now that siding on this house
The outside,
was 1x6 siding,
1x6 siding.
and it sloped down from about I'd say half or 5/8 down to about a quarter. I don't know hardly how to draw it. We'd say that's a siding is 1x6,
Uh-huh.
about that wide. Kind of had a slope to it,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and it butted.
So that each one overlapped the other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it butted against these boards here.
Okay.
You see, new houses anymore, the boards are on top of it. But them, the old-time houses, they butted that siding up to it.
What do you call this right here?
Well, that's supposed to be a corner board.
A what?
Corner board.
Corner board. Okay. Okay, so it butted up against the corner
Yeah.
board. All right.
But that's the way he's left it here, to butt up.
Okay. My.
Done.
This decorative woodwork. Well, I don't know what it's doing out here. When did you think the house was
I
built?
would say somewhere about 1875.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Well, I've heard old timers talk.
Okay.
And this was a deal right here that them mantles had on it too.
Oh, the woodwork that was in the bay.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Was this woodwork anywhere else in the bay? I mean, anywhere else in the parlor? Did you have picture moldings or ceiling moldings?
No,
You didn't have any moldings like that. Sometimes, how thick were the baseboard moldings? Did you have moldings around
1
the
by
base?
8.
1 by 8.
Is
Okay.
Is this a pane on here?
Two lights. Well,
Two
here,
in those, it shows.
yeah, there's 2 lights in here instead of 4
See, those
individual.
doors are, got them panels in them there, 4 panels.
Yeah, okay. The small panels go at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the large ones at the top. Now
Yeah.
they have 4.
What is that on those doors over there?
Easy.
You think in the office you
Yeah.
had a ceiling molding
Yeah.
in the office? Okay. How about any of the other rooms? Do you remember them having ceiling moldings?
They might have had in this parlor over there.
Okay. Did you see any noticeable difference in, say, the woodwork in the parlor, in his office, than in the rest of the house? Was it fancier or anything?
Nothing. That beaded ceiling in there,
Mhm.
walls and all.
Okay, so it really wasn't any fancier.
No.
As
and
far
the,
as
and the upstairs,
woodwork.
since I got studying, it had beaded ceiling. The
Okay.
office.
When you lived here, you say you didn't live in the whole house.
Well,
What rooms did you live in?
mostly these 2 bottom rooms.
Downstairs.
And then we cooked in that room after we built that flue.
Okay.
And we used these, and sometimes before we went to move our kitchen in there, we cooked and ate in here in these back
Okay.
rooms. And that had the Cornice, 1 by 12 Cornice,
What did?
that house.
Side?
Yeah, you see where they got that 1 by 6 nailed up there?
Uh-huh.
That there's a 1 by 12 went right up underneath that.
Okay. Okay.
And instead of dressed lumber, that was just rough lumber, this kitchen was.
The kitchen. Okay. On the outside.
Yeah. And they're stripped with 1 by 4s, them cracks.
Okay. All right. Board and batten siding. That's what they call board and batten? What do you
Well,
call it down here?
It's just rough lumber, 1 by 12, stood up like that.
Uh-huh.
Just rough lumber from the sawmill.
Okay. Was there a sawmill right close to around here?
Well, let's see. Well, I don't know. There were sawmills around. There's always been an old sawmill around Lakewire mostly.
What kind of outbuildings did you have out here in back of the house?
There wasn't.
There wasn't any. What are those?
Buildings down there.
Well,
Is that big brown?
that's
building?
where old man Scott lived. See, Green McCurtain's son. And he lived right down there.
Oh, I see. How about the outhouse? Where was the outhouse around here?
Well, I built that one that's sitting down yonder.
That one with the green roof?
No,
The back one.
further one.
The
Further
furthest
one.
one. You went out there every day? Oh, my goodness.
Well, that's all we know they did that days.
Well, no, but I
I
mean,
mean, you
that's...
didn't have one closer to here.
Well, they moved it off down there. I
Oh,
built it
where
up
was it?
on the west side of the house up there.
About how far away?
Oh, I'd say 100 yards. Something like
Tell me, did you ever notice if any time you dug around here that you might have run into where the old outhouse was?
that. No,
Okay. We'll just have to guess on that one.
there was an old chicken house around there.
There was? On the west side?
Yeah,
How about how far away?
but, 75, 100 yards.
You want to walk over and show me where it was? Any out, barns or granaries or
Well-
anything like that?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. Oh, I see corrals over there. Is that late?
They said that Green McCurtain had a corral over there at one time,
Okay. This is on which side of the house?
south,
On the south side of the
Yeah.
house. About how far?
just across the road over there, about
Okay.
where them are.
Okay.
They've been built later.
Yeah.
But they say that there was a corral over
Mm-hmm.
there. And I'd say that outhouse. But at one time, there was some kind of sewer system in here. But because I remember going up that road, down that road there was some pipe, what do you call it, sewer pipe,
Uh-huh.
across that road, I guess emptied in that ditch. And the chicken house must have been about where the clean place is there.
Okay.
And then, well, I remember I built this outhouse. right
This is
out
where
there.
you built your outhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. What was this chicken house made out of?
Just old rough lumber.
Was it board and batten type thing?
Yeah.
With the wide strips?
And we had a garden right out there.
Okay.
Always had a big garden.
This is on the west side of the
Yeah.
house.
And
Who owned that barn over there?
I built that barn about 40 years ago.
Okay.
And the barn set back off down there, they tell me.
Uh-huh.
And it had a windmill down there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a well down there, and they had a windmill. I could see signs of the old windmill.
What is that red cement out there?
Red what?
That red rock, the brick right out there See right straight in front of it? Right here.
That thing that's standing up. See by the...
Right straight through there, Sarah.
Oh, way down there?
Uh-huh, what is that?
I built a water. Brick water.
Were there lots of trees in this
Yeah,
area?
there was. There were lots of trees.
And they were locusts?
There were lots of locusts out here, and right, right along in here, there was a big tree, but I don't remember. I don't know what kind of tree it was. Stood right here, 2 foot through,
Right at the
and there was a walkway.
chimney. West corner of the chimney.
Yeah, walkway went right down around here.
Around the back of the house.
Yeah. No, it didn't go all the way
It just
back.
went out to the end.
Yeah, probably to the cellar.
Oh, okay.
And it went clear on around and connected up with that other one around there.
Okay.
It's probably never this dark.
Yeah, it's there.
You built the shed?
Yeah.
You remember when?
1950. Let's see. Pretty sure it's 1952.
How did he get around that building?
Well, I built the shed from the building back this way at the corner of the house. And it went nearly to that fence out there. It
Uh-huh.
was a good shed. You remember, Betty?
Yeah.
It was a good shed. And he,
A few drops of sweat in it. Hauling hay in it.
Did you say this White House over there was where the Scots lived?
no,
Is that house gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
But it was down here on...
Yeah, right down in below where that cow is. You see that timber?
Below, beyond the restrooms.
Yeah. Timber
Right.
right down in there.
Okay.
And we'd travel this road. See, there wasn't no road out here. We'd travel this road going down to the store, get our mail.
Okay.
And,
So the town was down, they were in the town,
yeah,
so to speak.
yeah. And I'll tell you a little story. And Brack was living out there in that old shack of a house.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Clint Harris, you remember him, Betty. And I was building this house that's sitting over on the corner now. I built that house right yonder where there's the front porch there. You see right yonder?
Uh-huh.
And I had the house up and was putting up sheetrock. Well, Leonard King lived down here in the bottom. He lives in that house now.
Oh, this is where he lives.
But anyway, that's the house right there. It was built right here.
Uh-huh.
And Clint and Brack was batching together down there and staying together. And both of them tight, they wouldn't spend a dollar. But anyway, I was putting up sheetrock in that house. And Leonard had been working with me, helping me. And I looked down the road one morning, and I seen old Leonard running up that road, his coattails standing straight out. And I looked out there, and here come old Brack running out there. And I think, what in the devil's wrong? Brack had that cake all over him, old cottonseed cake. What the devil's wrong? But Brack beat Leonard in. They was both scared. And he said, Clint fell dead out here.
That's when Brack wouldn't live in that house.
Yeah. And I said, what the devil? Well, the road was bad from here to Stigler. So I said, I just quit work. Walked out there, and they had that dead man on the bed. Just us three there. It was in December. And I said, well, Brack, what do you want me to do? They done had a stampede, you know. He said, well, I don't know. I said, you want me to go get Lloyd Munn? Them roads was bad, them old coal trucks. He said, yeah. So I hit out to Stigler to get Lloyd Munn.
Who was Lloyd Munn?
The undertaker.
Okay.
And I brought him back around and had to come in around here and come in front of that old house. They lived in that old house, see.
Uh-huh.
But I was building this new one. And it was about to fall down, and old Clint had that house full of wood, stove wood. Lloyd looked around and said, is this where Brack lives? And I was trying to kind of embarrass me. I was trying to flower things up. I said, yeah, they're batching here. I said, I'm building him a new house in the back out there. So they, 2 or 3 had ganged up there, but then and they didn't none of them offer to help me and Lloyd. We just loaded Clint on them stretchers and carried him out to the ambulance, put him in.
What did he die of?
Heart trouble, I guess.
I knew there was a story why Brackman would live
And
in
he-
that house.
Well, they were scared. Me and Leonard was working.
Why did he live?
You're saying that there were 4 lights on the 2-story section, but on the section
This is where
in the bay?
right here is where the 2 lights were
2 lights, okay.
on all 4 sides.
How about these other rooms here? How about these
No,
windows?
them rooms.
Just in the bay that you had 2 light windows.
Yeah.
1 single one at the top and 1 at the bottom.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. What do you call that?
Well, they had to raise it up, you see. And
Oh,
that's,
I see. They had to raise up the house.
yeah.
So what did you have in here? You probably had 8-foot ceilings, and now you've got 9?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
You think that's...
I think if this is built right, it'd all be about 8-foot ceilings. The ceilings upstairs might have been a little higher.
But you
But I
think
remember
it's
that.
because it's too low to begin with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Knob is here. on the
Okay,
back
let's see
door.
how wide this door is here. See if this one is correct.
Well, that there is 34 and a half inches.
Okay.
A 2/8 door would go in there. 2
Okay.
foot 8 inches.
Yeah, that'll be. The doors were all 2'8" wide?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'd have been building this house, I'd have worked from right there. When I started my foundation, I'd took that as my point.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
even when they put the tongue and groove boards in here, you're only going to go up.
3/4 of an inch.
Right. So you're still going to be raised.
Yeah. And they didn't have no raised fireplace them days.
Okay.
Of course, all of them are now, nearly. But them days
But
is...
not back then. I thought you were saying that there were two doors in this
No,
room.
my bed sit right there. I slept there many a
Okay.
night.
So the door was over here.
On the west end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Home
Now
bed.
that's a wide door there. That's about at least 3 foot. And you're saying that it'd be more like 2'8".
Yeah.
Okay.
And right here, and out here,
Sloping.
yeah, like
And the
that.
mantle?
No, underneath here.
What did it do?
Support that hearth up there.
That's why the ledge is on that rock there.
Yeah, it's went out like this, see? Just about 18 inches wide. Something to support that hearth up there.
I see. Okay. All right. We're talking.
That would give him help, you know.
Yeah, it would definitely. Okay. This was Green McCurtain's barn.
Yeah.
It's out on that knoll, which is
Yeah.
to the
You can see
east?
signs of it down there.
okay west side. It's
Yeah.
on the west side, right near the road.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. How big was it? A 2-story barn?
2-story barn, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
But I've, you know,
Did it burn? Did you
yeah,
ever hear?
yeah.
Burn, but it. Put that down. You said that there was an iron gate at the front between these two pillars.
Yeah. Panels. Bert Kinder. You don't know him, but he's kin of them Downs around there.
Uh-huh. You think he's the one who
And
did
there
the
was
rock work?
that pillar around there, that was beautiful cutting.
On that rock that was in
What was?
the 83.
That pillar that I was showing you about. Down there on the side.
Oh, where the water from the
Yeah.
roof
And
ran
there was
into.
a paling fence went around it.
Around here.
Yeah, and down the side. And across here. White paling fence. Pretty. When I first remember.
Uh-huh. Do you remember who lived in here before you?
Oh, there've been several people lived here. I don't know.
Quite a few, though.
Yeah. Up above there, where that gabling is,
Yeah.
on that little porch,
Right?
kind of had little fancy scallops on
At the top?
it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Fence, you know?
Yeah?
Went right down through there.
On the other side of the road?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a split rail?
Split road.
Okay. What did it hold off? What did he have out there?
Well, as far back as I can remember, that's a farm down
Okay. Kind of bottom land.
there.
How many acres did you ever hear that he owned here, or that he ran? I guess you
On
don't
this
know.
place here, 90 acres.
90 acres.
Yeah. And there was a cotton gin sit right down there where them trees are.
Okay.
And a big store sit over there. And the old schoolhouse where I told you I went to school,
Mhm.
you see that pickup down there?
Right.
Had been an old courthouse at one time, they said. And they had a jail out here. That's before my time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I went to school in this old courthouse. And they say this was the only stop between Fort Smith and North McAllister. There wasn't no New McAllister there, South McAllister. And they tried their prisoners. And,
Here at the courthouse?
yeah,
And then took them where?
Fort Smith. But they did have a jail here. And you talk about Christmas times. They really used to have Christmas here. People had just a little one-room building, but we'd have big Christmas trees.
At the school.
Yeah, and go out to the store, buy Roman calendars, firecrackers, and I'll never forget them old Christmases. We'd all, as I said, lived up our walk down through here. Go in the Christmas tree.
Where would your Christmas tree come from?
They'd cut a cedar tree around somewhere.
Okay, it's a cedar.
Quite a few houses
You said there were about 75 people that lived?
in a mile radius.
Uh-huh. So this was just outside the little village, this house.
Well, this has got a plat of township.
Mm-hmm. Where would I get a copy of that? Have you seen it?
Courthouse at Stigler.
Okay.
And they, at one time, well, for a long time, they carried the mail from Kenner in a buggy. And they had a post office in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd get the mail there. And
So this still continued even after 1902 or 1901, whenever the railroad came.
that's it, the railroad put that.
Yeah, but for a while people still continued to live here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. This is the 20th Sunday, and Mr. Vance is back, and I'm speaking with him again on the house.
I got to thinking last night after you all told me that about Joe Fellner.
Right.
I knew him. I was a kid, but I remember him. And he probably did build this house.
Now,
But as far as the niggers concerned, the killing him, he did not.
the man,
And he's buried right up there.
Mr. Feltner is
Yeah.
buried up here. This wouldn't be Mr. Feltner's father.
Well, the old man Fellner was a man about 60-year-old when I knew him,
When did-
65 maybe.
This would have been
And
when?
he could have, well, that was probably back, say, 1915 or somewhere along there,
1915.
or maybe a little earlier.
And he was 65. I was just wondering if maybe it was his father.
No, I would think, you see, he could have been a young man at 1875.
Yeah, yeah.
And right here, I want to show you something. Not much there. I've got several things. On the end of this porch, from this wall right here
Uh-huh,
over to that corner,
right.
there's a post set right there.
Yes.
Well, there was a wash place where you washed your face right here.
Uh-huh.
Shelf.
A what?
A shelf.
A shelf?
Back on it, maybe a 4-inch back. And you had your water bucket and your wash pan out of here.
Uh-huh.
And when you got out of bed, of course we didn't do it in the wintertime.
Yeah.
When you got out of bed in the morning, well, you come out here and you washed your face.
Uh-huh.
Howdy? Then sit right here. We had a bucket of water and a dipper and a wash pan. Well, we'd get up in the morning or come in noon from work, wash our face out here.
Uh-huh.
And of course we didn't do that in the wintertime, but summer we did. That's something that's,
Well, what is this thing right over here?
that's a flower bed that I
Okay.
made. I
Okay.
made that.
You made that, huh?
It stuck up, you know. I've been telling you this house is low.
Yeah, that's right.
I would have got me a starting point in here on that hearth.
Now, well, we've measured it this morning. It's about
All right.
4.5 inches higher than the floor.
I would have gotten that point right here before I started that foundation. And I would have, I figured out what it was. And from that rock right there,
Mm-hmm.
I would have measured down 10.5 inches. And there's where the top of the foundation would have been.
Mm-hmm.
10.5.
Why 10.5 inches?
All right. You've got a 2-8 underneath here.
Uh-huh.
2-8 floor joist. Then you got one laying under it, like that.
Uh-huh.
Then 2 floors, 3/4 an inch. You figure yourself, 2 by 8 is 7.5 inches.
Uh-huh.
And one laying flatways on top of it is an inch and a half.
Uh-huh.
That'd make 7.5, inch and a half,
Uh-huh.
be 9 inches.
Uh-huh.
Then the two floors, 3/4 each would have been inch and a half.
Uh-huh.
That'd been 10.5 inches.
Uh-huh.
I'd have measured, I'd have gotten the starting point right here
You measure 10.5 inches
when I run
down.
my foundation.
Okay.
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 You look on your blueprint, those old boards that was right in that front porch up there
Uh-huh.
was there.
Uh-huh.
Well, there was no way of walking down a walkway around there.
Around the top.
Because they were there, and they were there when this house was built. They were put there, and they were there when I was here.
Okay.
Boy.
Okay. Okay, there were scallops on the small gable up
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah, like that. Something.
Like this, and then there were holes above this.
Yeah, scallops above it.
Okay.
Were these individually, or were they cut out of one board?
Cut out of one board. About a 3/8 inch board.
Okay.
They were on top of one another. Scallop clear up that gable.
Did they overlap? These were on top of these?
Yeah, they did, but
Okay,
they
kind of a
didn't.
fish scale.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They come down, say, maybe like that, about an inch, covering it up every time. But
Okay.
then, I want to.
The posts up on the balcony.
Uh-huh. It makes them look pretty nice. You cut them out.
So what you had is an open space between two two-by-fours with
Yeah.
a short.
See, I'll get some more.
Your bottom, what you're saying is your bottom was, it came down at the bottom like
Yeah.
this, and it was squared down here, but the top part where it was like this was like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
But-
then in the middle,
It had two.
you had one where it was cut this way on both sides,
Okay.
spaced in the middle, and then at the top you had one just on the bottom.
Okay, I see. Were these were two-by-fours up here?
Yeah.
They were not what are those, two-by-sixes?
And 2 6.
Okay, they were
Now you
two-by-fours.
can look on your blueprint and you can see them old banisters that went around.
Yeah, right, right. As high up as they were, could that have been a flue? Or, I mean,
No.
a hole for a pipe to go through? Was it round or square?
No, it was just kind of sawed out there. Hole not very big. But, you know,
If he had a wood stove up there,
the only, no, he couldn't work with wood stove.
well, if he would have, as high up as you said it was, he would have had to stand on something to be able to shoot out.
He might have. But that's the only thing I could make out that
Uh-huh.
hole was far down. They might have not even had that hole. It might have been knocked in there. somewhere.
Yeah,
But I figured it's a garden is the place.
yeah.
And
I just wondered, since he didn't have
I
any
don't think-
heat up there, if he had maybe, you stop and think, if maybe he had later on put a coal or a wood
well,
stove and
you
run a
would
flue
notice
through
the
that hole.
signs had been shut or
Uh-huh.
or
And you didn't see
something.
anything. So they tore the chimneys down?
They didn't tear them plumb down, but they tore them down to where it's wider
Uh-huh.
and put the rock back just like they were.
So do you think they're the same size?
Yeah.
They're the same size. Who did that work, do you
I
know?
wasn't here. I was in Tulsa.
Okay, how long was this after it was torn down?
Well, they probably tore it down,
They tore it 71.
and then they built the chimneys right back immediately after it was tore down. But
Okay.
they took the rock down, probably had them numbered, see, and put
Uh-huh.
them back just like they were.
Okay. Well, apparently they didn't put it all right back because the architect had found where different stones were, and he could tell that there had been some changing in that chimney.
Well, they probably.
The windows in the parlor.
We found a piece out there yesterday.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't remember whether all these windows had trim over them or not, but I don't think they did.
This area in here you were telling us about,
Is this where you
Where
were
you-
calling the cornices?
Yeah,
that where you was talking about going like this, where was that at?
right here.
On the gable area, the small
Okay.
gable.
Yeah.
But this, you were saying these were 1x12s?
No, they're 1x6s.
1x6s?
All this is.
No, this is 1x6,
this
but
one
the
going this
trim.
way across the top here.
That's a 1x12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
What-
was there anything across the top of this?
Yeah, there was a facer board that went down and covered that up I'd say about a 1x5.
1x5. Okay. Okay.
You know, some of it is but this is just plain 1x6 siding, and it lapped and butted to each corner and each window and each door, butted up against it.
When you lived here, where was your kitchen originally?
Well, let's see. Me. Yeah. Well, I use the same old kitchen they got marked out here.
As
right
the,
here,
as the kitchen.
Right here,
Was there a wall in here
Yeah,
at this
there
time?
was.
There
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
when you were here, between the kitchen and the dining
Yeah.
room. And then later on you moved over to here,
Yeah.
over to this,
Yeah.
over to the parlor.
And we cooked in there. I don't know, them posts wasn't there.
Those aren't the right kind of posts. They're
those
like
are
what you
blue-
explained.
Blueprints off there.
Okay.
And right here's where I'd make it into scallops.
On this section right in
Yeah.
here, oh, I know what he's had.
Yeah.
Were they as small as what you were drawing, or were they larger?
I believe it was a little bit larger.
No, they wouldn't have been shingles, would they have been? Like, you've seen decorated shingles in fishtails?
No, just about 3/8 inch stuff.
Okay,
And they come down about 1 inch at the top. You take a saber saw and you cut them out.
okay,
They were
okay.
just-
So they were
they weren't
actually,
overlap siding,
it
they
wa-
were just
yeah,
scallops.
Yeah.
okay. What did you cook on originally, before you built the flue? Did you have a cast iron range?
No, we had a wood stove and just a metal thing went up through the roof.
Up through the roof. Did they have, is that what they had, you think? Was there a hole in the roof already
Yeah,
when you moved
yeah,
in?
yeah.
Okay. So that there was a flue that went straight up.
Well, it's just a piece of metal, a roof.
Right,
You've seen these old roof things with pipe go up down.
right. Okay,
And I got ready to set the house bar, so I built a flue back there. Then the
okay.
school came along, and then I built this other flue right there.
What kind of range did you have? I mean, what did you cook on? Was it it wasn't a big cast iron?
Yeah,
It was?
yeah.
Okay.
It was them kind that they used to sell and they guaranteed for a lifetime. They wasn't. I forget what they wasn't. And then I don't remember whether we got a coal oil burning stove while I was here or not. And we used coal oil lamps.
Okay. Okay, let me see what else have I got down here.
These doors,
What I'm wondering is, the hole that you mentioned that was up in his office, that was in the wall, was there any hole or anything like that down in the parlor?
no,
No, okay.
I'd say 7, 8 feet.
7, 8 feet, okay. Huh.
I had to get up on the chair and look out the hole.
How was it covered up?
Wasn't even covered that well, I remember.
Just opened it out?
Yeah.
Oh, forever.
And those doors, they had locks on them, old-fashioned locks, square locks,
Mm-hmm,
and the lock part was on the inside,
mm-hmm,
and had white knobs. Most of them did.
Mhm.
Some of them had been broke off.
was any of them dark knobs?
Well, they could have been,
Yeah.
but I don't remember. I never did even think about, which as I said a while ago, I'm pretty good to notice things, and I can remember things back 65 years ago that I can't remember what happened yesterday. That's my mind.
Oh, I know what else we were going to ask you. When you talked about those homemade doors yesterday, on the back part of the
Yeah.
house, how were they made?
Well, they were about 1x6s. We got some work on.
Just paper and then rock.
I got pencil. They're just 1x6s.
That's
Okay.
right
Right
place,
place, but it's swinging from the wrong side.
That door's from back here.
Okay, so you're saying the homemade doors were 1x6s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think all 4 of them.
All 4. Those are the ones off the dining room, the kitchen,
Mhm.
and into the 2 guest rooms. Okay. And,
Beaded ceiling, all that broom.
okay.
Ceiling and all, beaded stuff, 4 inches wide, like I
Yeah,
was telling you, all
right.
them ceilings, including the porches, were sealed
Okay.
with that stuff.
Okay. I just,
You know
so,
what I mean?
yeah,
Some out in the shed.
yeah. Okay. But when we saw this, it took us a while to figure it out, but I think these are blackboards.
They probably will.
That the school put
I
those
probably
in.
know that guy's standing there. I don't know who it is.
No, he's the guy that tore it down.
Oh, he is.
Was this wainscot in the parlor when you were
Yeah.
When-
Come up about 3 foot high.
It was there when you
Mhm.
got there. Okay. I just wondered, at some point when the school came, they just painted this area black.
No, there's probably a blackboard. Now, I'm not going to be for sure, but I know it was.
Oftentimes in the old days they used to paint the board black.
it looks like the boards are still there, but they used to use a blackboard paint.
Well, that's the only way. Of course, they might have used a blackboard paint there. They probably did. But way back there, that's about the only way they had the blackboards. They got them about 3 1x12s. I went to school right down the road where first school I went to, and they had 3 1x12s about 10 foot long, and that's about all the blackboards we had, and a slate to write on.
Do you know the names of some of the
Yeah,
people who lived here
Walter
before
Davis.
you? Walter Davis?
Yeah.
Right before you or quite a while before you, or don't you remember?
Well,
Is he still alive?
no, he's dead. It's before I did, and I probably a year or 2 before that.
Does he have any children in the area?
Yeah?
Or a wife? Is his wife still alive?
No, she's dead. But he got a daughter over at Stigler, and Betty was talking about that skinny Ford yesterday. It's his wife.
That's the skinny Ford is the wife.
His skinny Ford is a man, and Walter Davis' daughter is his wife.
Okay.
But she wouldn't remember anything because she was small when they lived.
Well, I thought perhaps someone took some photographs outside.
I doubt it. People
Well,
didn't have picture cameras hardly them days.
We might ask and see. It's always worth a chance.
Never did.
Were there any other children besides her?
Yeah, there were several. There's 2 or 3 living, 1 or 2 living, and the rest of them are dead.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get Betty to check with her.
Yeah. Go up in this big board.
Well, you're calling that the Cornices. He calls it the freeze, but that was the 1x12.
Number 12 comes down here and sits right on top of that mold.
Okay, this is a little molding on the, what do you call this, the corner
board.
The corner board. Okay. This is March 20th, 1983, and this is Shirley Pettengill, and I'm in Kenta, Oklahoma, interviewing Mr. and Mrs. George Scott, Jr.
Don't know the year, but he built that schoolhouse.
This is Green McCurtain.
And sent to Baltimore, Maryland, and got Wallace Bond as a teacher and paid him $10 a month in room and board. And my mother went to school there, and then my Aunt Lena Moore, Mrs. H.M. Moore, And I don't know whether the younger children, I don't know, I'm sure they went there as sons.
Now, this is out by the cemetery?
Out by the cemetery, the old rock schoolhouse.
It's still there?
And that Wallace Ward Bond, they tell me, is a grandson
Wallace.
of Wallace. And Wallace Bond home is still over there in old Sambo town. Now he brought along a brother, originally Bond. And he married an Indian woman. And they had several children. One of them still living over there. Now he remembers his name, Emmett Bond. He still lives back in there, getting old.
Right.
And now his daddy built a lot. Was supposed to have built some of that house, but I don't see how he could if he come along later. See?
Now Cinnabon.
Cinnabon was originally Bond's wife. See?
Okay, what I've heard is that Cinnabon was a cook there, and that Ridgely Bond had been a bodyguard at one time of Green McCurtain's.
He might have been. I never heard that, but
who was telling us this? Mr.
Eisner?
No, Sidney originally wasn't a bodyguard. He was a good friend.
Ridgely?
Ridgely Bond.
Well, anyway, this is, one story that we'd heard.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know. But Robert doesn't know anything about the old history there.
Okay, well, he was telling us that his mother was raised there in San Boy.
Yeah, probably was.
And
years later. So.
That she had told him that there used to be a building further away from the house that no longer is there. And one of the problems that we have been trying to figure out is where was the original kitchen?
All right. Now, see, that lean-to wasn't there.
Was that a porch?
No, there wasn't anything there.
There wasn't anything.
See, on the north side now, the northeast corner, on the north side, there's a 14 by 14.
Right.
And we think that was the kitchen. But that other was added there later. See, that part, they already got it, have it on there, don't they?
Yeah.
See,
you don't think,
right.
you don't think that was added, when do you think that was added?
Oh, sometime before Cyril lived there, Cyril Vance.
Yeah.
You see, that was, because my mother used to always say
that it was added? Well, now tell me, when the archaeologists, have you been out there when the archaeologists uncovered a foundation of
on the north side?
Yeah, on the north side, as to what that might have been.
That was the kitchen.
That was the kitchen. Okay, well now, when Mrs. Vonderow, in the I found a letter in the files in 1977 where she drew out plans, and she said that that was a dining room, that long room there.
No, she's wrong. Her sister probably told you that, see, too. I mean, friend.
Yeah.
She said that Aunt Ed was wrong.
Okay, so there wasn't a dining room there.
It was inside there. I heard my mother talking.
Where inside? There were two rooms downstairs.
Yeah, that's one of them
was the dining room?
I think the east one was the dining room. Because it's right in front of that kitchen, see, in the back. See, like here's the house, and right back here, that's the way it's facing east and west. And that foundation is back here, isn't it? See?
Now they said that there were two guest rooms downstairs, but you're saying the east one was probably the dining room?
Well, that back here was the dining room, and
but that means you would have to go out of the house to go to the dining room.
Well, it was right against the house, wasn't it, that foundation?
Well, you have a dining room, and then over further, the foundation is covered up.
Here's the house right here, and I thought this foundation run out here, 14 by 14.
What is your theory on when the house was built?
Well, my mother was born in 1879. She was the oldest child of the second family. Mm-hmm. And they'd moved from a curtain over there somewhere. There's a grave where two children now.
And the last date on that is 1877.
1877.
Is when that child, the last child, died.
All right, then that's a pretty good indication. And my mother Born in 79 there, see.
Was she, you know that she was born in the house?
She was born in that house.
Okay. Now, when when they were working on the house, this stone turned up that says 1883 on it. But no one knows where it came from.
Yeah.
But I've seen the stone and it says 83.
Yeah. No, my mother was born. She
In the
certainly
house.
wasn't born anywhere else. I mean,
Yeah.
she-
Well, what I had wondered is, was it possible that this whole house wasn't built at one time?
no.
That you think it was
It
on?
was completed when my mother was born there. No,
Now let me.
brother, see.
You said that he killed 9 men.
He killed 9 men. My grandmother said he just killed 5.
Mm-hmm.
But my daddy, who was in business and knew more about his history, said he killed 9. And 2 of them I know, I've heard the historians come there, Peter Hudson.
Right.
Who was Oklahoma historian, come there and set up my grandmother. Way in the night, 1 or 2 o'clock, going over all that out on the lawn, see, Stigler?
Uh-huh.
And I've heard him tell about Tandy Walker
Yeah.
killed at first Robert McCurtain, his younger brother, 23 years old. And so he scouted, Tandy scouted for, 2 or 3 years or something. So when he come back, my grandmother said to all the McCurtain boys, Edmund and Jack and Green, met there at her house, had breakfast, and went out and got Tandy Walker. Is his son, or
I thought the name was Walker Henderson.
no, it's Tandy Walker. I
Tandy
thought
Walker?
his son or something.
Okay.
It wasn't the chief, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when they went up to the house, this Edmund McCurtain had a little gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt sorry for the man. He'd been sick or something. He said he'd been sick and he wasn't able to fight it or anything. So he started to shake hands with him, I believe. And then, and my granddad, he had a little pistol and he shot him. Then he said he didn't feel sorry for his brother when he killed him, see.
Mm-hmm.
And my granddad, he shot him. Then when he fallen, this Edmund that started shaking hands with him, emptied a double-barrel shotgun on him, see. Now that was the story I'd heard tell Peter Hudson.
Uh-huh.
Then the other was Dave McCurtain, who his daughters are buried over there at Spiral. He was crippled, had a crippled arm. He's out feeding his hogs one morning. And a state Negro from Arkansas somewhere's out there stealing them. And it's cold, and he had an overcoat on, a crippled arm. He couldn't get to his gun, and this Negro shot him and killed him. And he knew he'd have to kill my grandfather again. And as I understand it, my grandfather lived down in Tallahena or somewhere, and this Negro went down there to get him. And my grandfather had to be out in the barn shooting cats or something. And this Negro come out of the bushes and said, "I didn't kill your brother," or something. And that the grandfather knew something was wrong, so he brought him back to Spiro and stopped at some old Indian's house and stayed all night. He slept in the same room. And he's a huge Negro. And said every time that the Negro was raised, my grandfather would raise an arm or something. And so when they got back pretty close to Spiro, somewhere, Scullyville, the creek was up. And they met a mail carrier, I believe now, and he said, "Well, Green, I see you got the man that killed your brother." And this man spoke up violently, the Negro. He said, "Well, I might have made a mistake or something." The Negro broke and run, and my grandfather killed him, see. Now, that was the only 2, but I've heard that story.
Well, I knew he was a sheriff for a while.
Sheriff, but he'd send them out to get him while he was the chief, see, I understand. There's, I know a story that's Louisville over its Negro
Mhm.
community. That was named after Calvin Lewis. And he might have been a bodyguard. See, I don't know. But the story is that my granddad sent Calvin and Martin Harris, two blacks, out to get a man. And so they come back in 2 or 3 days. My grandfather asked them if they got the man. Calvin, as I understand it, was kind of a coward, Negro. He said, well, Martin staked me out in the back, and he was in the front. And I was just praying he didn't come out my side. And I know he didn't come out Martin's side. He said that I'd heard that gun barking. Because Martin was the top bodyguard. The little Negro just died a few years old, 20, 30 years ago. He killed 10 men himself, see?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of the way
In other words, your
the line of duty, see. Now, what was the other one? I heard so much. Oh, see, I told the 2 gentlemen here before about this one. Right behind my grandfather's grave, east, is a Louis Lucas. He was a sheriff over in this county. It was Sanborn County, I guess. Wasn't this Sanborn County before high school?
Yes.
All right, and there was some trouble over there in the Garland family. The man that told it to me, Sidney White, said that they was going to kill Louis Lucas. He was a sheriff. So they had an Indian ball game just north of the cemetery there. And it's a custom of these Indian ball teams when they used to play. One of them camp on one creek and one the other in 2 or 3 days, and then come out and make their ground rules and start playing with them. Sidney told me, Sidney White, that's Edmund McCurtain's grandson. He's still living. See, over 93 years old, over in the restaurant. He's still got a good mind. That's who you ought to see. He can tell you story after story. Now, my grandfather went out to the center of the field. He was a captain of the team. And Louis Lucas, his sheriff, had been a great ball player, but he's a sheriff. And he was out there with him. And Mose Woolridge was, now this is in the history too. Mose Woolridge was drinking. He was out in the center of the field too. 2, 3, I guess he wasn't playing. And an Indian by the name of Cooper Surratt, a crippled Indian, a mean Indian. So my grandfather went back to their side and he heard a gunshot and he looked around and shot his friend Louis Lucas. Now this Sidney White who was telling me that was his uncle by marriage. So he said, I never will forget, they shot him in the neck and he fell off the horse. And I never will forget my Aunt Jenny screaming. So they took him. Well now, as he told it, this Mose Woolridge run on his horse, and he went by and this Indian fellow there named Hagen Belvin. He was a cousin of my grandfather. He said, come and go with me, Hagen. And Hagen just took off with him, not knowing where he was going or anything. And probably might have been drinking too. So then Sidney said that the story is, Uncle Green told Martin, his bodyguard, get him, Martin. But he said he didn't tell him that. Martin just pulled a gun and shot Mose Woolridge off on the horse. See, they said he laid there 2 or 3 days. But Sidney said he didn't. He moved him that day or soon as he shot. But said they took Louis Lucas to that Wallace Bond house down there in Sanborn Town. It was a breezeway then. And he died in about 2 days there. And that's the grave just east. It's a little iron thing around it. There are banisters around it now. Louis Lucas. Then his wife, his widow, Jenny Lucas, who's Edmund McCurtain's daughter, married the stepson, Joshua Lucas. And they moved over there for years and years. He was 100 years old when he died, just a few years ago. And they lived out between Stigler and Keolis. But now, I can't imagine, I was just trying to think who all he raised there. See, this old Negro down here, Jacob Walters, he's dead now. He used to tell me when I'd seen him that another Negro named Ellick Folsom, I guess they raised. Well, no, Ellick was up there all the time. My granddad paid him $10 a day to play catch with his son, Ed, Lester McCurtain. And they had a pool table. My granddaddy and father built a pool table, see.
That's up here in Canada.
Up here, to keep my oldest brother, who's deceased now, and Lester, his youngest boy, out of town, see, down here. And this old Negro, Jacob Walters, would say, oh, boy, said, we just worshiped old Foxy. Said he could go up there and shoot pool and play catch with Lester, with the governor's boy. Oh, we just idolized him. Someday we go up there. But now, I don't know all the history of those. I'd send them up east to school.
He did?
A lot of Indian boys.
Were they like the orphans that he had taken in?
Like Kirby Cooper, he sent him to school, Fort Smith, business college. And,
he was just very much for education.
Yeah. Well, Edmund was really his brother, the chief, too, you know.
Yeah.
Known as the educator. But he was always sending or helping someone go to school. See, I had this crippled brother, Dave McCurtain, that this Negro killed, had two daughters. He educated them, Joe and Dave McCurtain.
Okay, right.
And
so Green,
they just died recently. One of them said she was about 100, but he gave them a real good education. And he real generous. My daddy had the store.
Yeah.
My mother the hotel. My daddy had the bank. He owned the bank. My granddad owned the building. But my daddy owned the bank. And 8 sawmills out in the mountain. Owned
was
all
Kenta,
that.
there wasn't much, there
He
wasn't a
named
Kenta. Okay, who did, your grandfather or your
No,
father?
my father.
Your father named Kenta.
After Beaver Creek, Kenta means beaver in Choctaw.
Okay, so there really was nothing here.
Nothing.
Before the railroad came, and they just moved to.
And then, see, the Scott Ranch is 4 miles northeast. That was what Kenta identified with. See. And my grandfather and father were in cattle. My father told me that he met my grandfather at the old council house and asked him for a job.
This was in Tuscaloosa?
And he said, you don't want that job, it's not any good. Said, come Sanborn, and I'll give you a good job. So my father said he'd come up here and stay 2 or 3 months. And all my granddad do take him fishing. And he learned, see.
Yeah.
First thing you know, he took him in business. And they had 5,000 and 10,000 head of cattle all the time, see. So when my granddad went more into politics, he got out of the cattle business. He had the first store in Whitefield.
Your grandfather did?
According to Ted Hall's history, the book there. They don't know whether it was the McCurtain Company or Green McCurtain, but he told me he had the first store there, see. And you ever see that Ted Hall book?
Yeah, I've seen it. Mrs. Dobie was showing it to me. I need to run that down too.
Yeah, but see, that's the reason my father knew so much about it.
Well, then your father
He
met
was
your mother out in
Sandboy.
in San Boy, and they were married out there in 1896.
1896. He was the treasurer
Okay.
of the Choctaw Nation, see.
Okay.
And,
He kind of.
he spoke Choctaw fluent. He could speak it better than my mother. He wasn't much in it, but he spoke it real fluent.
So.
And he'd,
It's
they
almost.
was in the office together, see.
Uh-huh. It's
And,
almost like your grandfather found this promising young man, and it would be nice if his daughter married.
Yeah. That was.
That
It
kind.
wasn't extremely
Yeah.
to be married.
Yeah. It was
Very.
probably a. It's too bad that it didn't work out with his. Now, had he died when his younger daughters married the
No,
Pembroke?
might have one of them. I don't see they had a lot of trouble with the Pebbles.
Yeah, I know it was a
And,
tragic situation.
And I don't believe all that would have happened.
Had he lived.
He'd have killed both of them. That's what had happened.
Instead of letting one kill the
Yeah,
other one off.
uh-huh.
Well, that was too bad for the girls, for the
Yeah.
sake of the girls,
Uh-huh.
because who was it? Somebody that we were talking to out there said that the one brother beat his wife up all the time, and
Well, they both did probably. They were just sorry people. See.
what happened to the children? I understand that they
Well, see, there's a man who lives down here, Sam, what's his name? Oh, I can't. Davenport. Now, he lives down there where Hugh lived when got killed. I mean, that was Hugh's place there. And
Right.
Well, now, that-
They all say that Sam cheated those children out of their land over there. Where I met y'all,
Yeah.
that on one side of the road was their allotments of their mother's land, but he didn't. He bought it. My mother tried to get him not to sell their land. See, we get a hold of something, we don't sell much land, and they weren't prudent. They had too much that pepperwork blood in them, see,
Yeah.
to make any money or ambition or anything. See.
The house, wasn't that a wedding gift?
That's a
from the
wedding
McCartney's
gift.
to the
My
daughter?
granddaddy gave that to Cora, Hugh's wife.
Okay.
And he gave the bank building to Lena, Corinne's mother. And he
Okay.
gave my mother 100 lots here in town
Okay.
for her wedding present. And he gave them all something, I don't remember, I know those three. See, he wasn't a wealthy man, he was just comfortable. My daddy was one that was wealthy, see.
Tell me, one of the things that Mrs. Doby found when she was telling me in 1958 she was hauling feed or hay or something to put into that barn, and she found some papers up there that were your father's. Were they storing stuff in there? It would have been upstairs in
See,
Green's
let me
office.
tell you, see downtown, that across from that red building, that
Right.
used to be white.
Yeah,
See, it's got Scott 1903 up the top.
Right.
You see that?
right.
Right across the street's that bank. See, my dad's office and granddad's office was together upstairs. And imagine when they cut that off, see, they had to put the paper somewhere.
Somewhere, and they put it
Greg
back out.
took them, my brother, and
Put them out
put 'em
there.
in,
Okay, well, I sat
we
there
gotta-
trying to figure out how they got out
see,
there.
we couldn't take them home because we got 10 or 15 boxes, I guess, of those papers now.
Well, now, whatever happened to Green McCurtain's papers?
Well, that's some of them that were
You've
at
got
home.
some of those, okay.
Backing, but he said a lot of them are, I saw some of them, like, someone wrote in Green McCurtain 35 votes and Thomas Hunter 2 votes or something. See, there wasn't that many people living there, but the Mac and them have all those over there, but they're not filed, it's just,
There.
and a lot of used to historians come there and they won't look through them, see.
Uh-huh.
The Mac and them are funny about those papers.
What do you think is going to happen to those papers?
Well, I don't know.
Can you maybe, they would probably be quite important,
Yeah, they
particularly
would.
if they're green, some of those are green curtains. I
Yeah.
think they should go in somebody's archive somewhere.
Yeah, I know, they won't do it in getting those boxes, see, I'm not much, See, I used to be a
Yeah. Do you have any
athlete.
influence on them as to?
Oh, some maybe.
Well, you know, you
Some.
might work on them. They would really be nice to end up in the Historical Society in
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, in the archival.
Oh, yeah, I know it.
Because
That's where I like to see a lot of them. See, now, I know the value of not storing them. Like, say, I had won a lot of medals and running football
Right.
trophies and things, and I'd keep them. House. It had an Indian ball team on it. That, I used to know a lot of them. The county sheriff to 1920, Dan Colston.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of the pictures they don't have any names on them. And all
What?
I know was just my granddad or uncle.
What about
aunt or
pictures of the house? Are there,
No,
you think,
just
any
in the-
outside pictures of the house?
Well, they might have some over there matching
Okay.
him. Let me get you something you love. Oh, Cyril
This was when he
Vance.
went to Washington?
Washington, he'd always take someone with him that never been anywhere. He took Russ Vance with him. This old cowboy, you know. I mean, he was an old Texan cowboy. Cussed every other breath. So they was in a big restaurant and they got through eating and sitting back, you know, and the waiter come up and said, "Do you fellas wish to retire?" Russ said, "I don't care if I leave any goddamn thing you bring me." That was one of the stories he'd make up. I was working in the restaurant as a kid, about 16, on Stigler. The man that owned the restaurant had lived in Fort Smith. He was sitting there looking at me, you know. And I said, "Miller, what are you looking at me so hard for?" He said, "Little George, you know you're from a famous family." I said, "I never did know it," and I didn't see then. He said, "You didn't know your granddaddy, did you?" I said, "No, he died before I was born." He said, "You ought to know him." He said, "He used to come into Fort Smith." It said there'd be a big crowd following him. He'd tell them stories, you know. He took this Dick Brown, that was his favorite. That was one of his bodyguards. He's about 6'6", see. That's the one Tony said
Good bodyguard.
loved. My granddad fed him and loved him and kept him up.
Uh-huh.
And so he framed it up with the Federals in Fort Smith to arrest him for horse thieves. And so he slipped off from Dick, and the feds come and got Dick and arrested him for horse thievery. They said, "We want you for stealing a horse across the river in Salisaw or somewhere." "Oh, no," said the gentleman, said, "you got the wrong nigger." Said, "I never stole a horse in my life." "Oh, no," said, "it couldn't be a mistake. There's not too many blacks big as you are, and you just fit the description perfectly." "Oh, no, you sure got the wrong man." He said, "Well, who can you prove your innocence by?" He said, "Go in the old governor." And they said, "Well, where is the old governor?" "He down at the KC depot." So they went down there, and this Fed said, "Governor, do you know this darky?" He looked at him and said, "No, I don't believe I ever saw him before." Dick said, "Oh, come on, Governor, you know me." That, I've heard that.
What were some of the names of some of the bodyguards that you know who
Norris
worked for-
Cooper.
What was the name?
Norris Cooper.
Norris Cooper.
And they wasn't even mentioned in the Giles book.
Okay.
See, he was well known to kind of Dan Folsom and Martin Harris, a black, that was one of his favorites.
Were
Dick,
most of these guys black?
no, just Martin Harris
Okay.
and Dick Brown. And let's see, who were some of the others? Louis Lucas was. And let's see.
Oh, and the Anderson?
No, Madison, Thelma's daddy was secretary,
Oh, second.
press Lester. Now, one of Bill Murray's first jobs was my granddad's secretary.
Really? What were some of the different secretaries that you
Pat
had?
Hurley. Pat Hurley was one of his
Pat
first
Hurley.
jobs was granddad's. Secretary of War in the Hoover. And